In 1997, Jim Gillespie's US horror I Know What You Did Last Summer swam, despite moderate to negative reviews, successfully in the wake of Scream. It also has, with Kevin Williamson, the same simple-minded screenwriter. Grossed $126 million worldwide at costs of $17 million, enjoys a certain cult status among fans, has found its way into pop culture over the years and is often quoted or made fun of, like here with The Simpsons in Treehouse of Horror 10 from 2000, and spawned to date 3 sequels and a TV series.
Oh, things are getting real funky down at the and it's not just cause that it's stinking, it's a stinking lies you tell.
4 teenagers, Ray, Julie, Barry and Helen, run over a stranger at night after a party and decide to throw him into the sea. In the process, he grabs Helen's beauty crown, and when Barry jumps into the water to get it, he sees that the man opens his eyes. However, they don't take this as an opportunity to help the injured man and instead vote to forget the incident. Exactly 1 year later, on the 4th of July, they have since gone separate ways. Each receives the message from a stranger, I know what you did last summer, who now, in fisherman outfit and hook, starting with a witness driving by the scene of the accident, tries to kill them one by one. The fairly conventional horror, in which in the final the killer turns out to be fisherman Ben Willis, the accident victim who didn't drown after all, who can apparently be killed by Julie and Ray, is based on the 1960s urban legend of the Hook Man, quoted in the Campfire introduction, and very loosely on the 1973 same-named young adult thriller by Louis Duncan, who was horrified to see it turned into a slasher movie. In the much better, highly recommendable book, the 4 of them at night under similar circumstances accidentally hit a child on a bicycle and immediately commit a hit and run without even stopping. However, they call for help anonymously a few minutes later, but the child dies on the way to the hospital. And there it is a family member who writes the messages to track them down, based on their reactions in order to take revenge on them. Summer of Fear from 1978, also after a Louis Duncan novel, sticks a little closer to its same-named original from 2 years earlier. See also the Wes Craven retrospective. In 1998, the Hookman returns in Danny Cannon's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. There, Julie and her new roommate Brandy win with the wrong answer a pretend radio sweepstakes. And go to the Bahamas in the middle of hurricane season with her friend and Will, with whom she tries to set Julie up, while Ray cancels because he wants to follow up later for a surprise marriage proposal to Julie, but first ends up in hospital because of the killer. There, as the only remaining guests and a few employees, the Hookman, this time with an updated message, kills them one by one as in the previous movie.
It's getting ready to blow. It's getting ready to show. Somebody shout up at the mountain. We're getting ready to know. It's getting ready to drop. It's getting ready to shock. Somebody turn up the heat and it's getting ready to pop.
The much weaker, shockingly unoriginal sequel with a horrible soundtrack was quite rightly slated across the board. Nevertheless, it made on a $24 million budget more than $80 million worldwide back. In the end, Will turns out to be not only the fake radio host, but also Ben Willis' son, who joins his hook-wielding father in the continuation of his revenge plans. And here too, as in the last part, the supposedly defeated killer reappears shortly before the end credits, which will probably turn out to be another nightmare sequence, or they simply never bring it up again, whatever.
Breakfast is in your pantry. Now what do we have in here? Having a daytime nightmare. That's almost been your biggest fear.
But part 2 is still Citizen Kane and high art compared to Sylvain White's direct-to-video to trash can I Always Know What You Did Last Summer from 2006. Here a group of teenagers, exactly 1 year after covering up the accidental death of a friend, in which one of them had disguised himself as the Hookman for a prank, and one of the others, who was also involved for whatever reason, actually died, is pursued by a mysterious figure with a hook and killed one by one.
Things are getting real crucial. Up the old one yet you cry whenever the victim, when the culprits wow you.
This is supposedly the now apparently immortal Hookman from the predecessor, who they tried unsuccessfully to establish here as some kind of zombie Michael Myers / Jason wannabe, as the 4th of July monster or something. The only really scary thing here is the fact that I've successfully avoided this insufferable bore for decades. But now, thanks to the rearView, I had to torture myself through it. The same applies to I Know What You Did Last Summer from 2021. The 8 45-minute episodes are about shy Allison. She gets into a fight at a party with her easygoing, estranged since their mother's suicide, twin sister Lennon, is mistaken for her by her friends, and on the way home hits the sister of all people. She covers it up with her friends, who think the dead is Allison, and now lives on as Lennon, even with her father's blessing. A year later she returns to the town, and the group receives mysterious messages and are hunted by a masked murderer. Investigating, they discover the darker side of their town, where everyone seems to be hiding something.
It's getting ready to blow. It's getting ready to show. Somebody shot up at the mountain. We're getting ready to know. It's getting ready to drop. It's getting ready to shock. Somebody turned up the heater and it's getting ready to pop. It's getting ready to see. You're getting ready to freak. Somebody picked up the top box and getting ready to speak.
The short-lived, unbearably woke Amazon garbage in which there's never any suspense. It's all about relationship bullshit and the resolution with a girlfriend as the killer, who is then covered up by Allison to put an innocent man behind bars, makes no sense whatsoever, even if she tries in vain to explain this in the end credits. Rightly received mostly negative feedback and was thankfully cancelled after the first season, so I didn't have to waste more of my last summer on this uninteresting crap. 2025 Part 4 continues the second one, ignoring, as the viewer already did, everything that came in between. Here 5 friends, 2 men and 3 women, decide after witnessing a fatal accident in which a car at excessive speed plunges over the cliff to avoid hitting one of the group, practically without any reason to cover up the truth because of script, and a year later are pursued by a hookman, who first kills 2, later even more people they know, who were completely uninvolved in the incident. They find out that something similar happened over 20 years ago, the infamous Southport massacre. But not really, since here the guy drove over the cliff himself. They even tried to save him. In the original movie, the victim was actively hit by their car and subsequently tried to kill him on purpose, and now seek help from its survivors Ray and Julie.
It's getting ready to jail. It's getting ready to jail. Someone don't let the lid up in it. It's getting ready to smell.
The unbearably unimaginative at almost 2 hours, the predecessors were significantly shorter, far too long bore, once again follows the awful trend of unnecessarily revising former happy ending couples. Ray and Julie are of course no longer happily married, but divorced and in a shitty mood. Just like all former couples in these god-awful new fake sequels. See also Gail and Dewey in the Scream reboot garbage, Han and Leia in Star Wars Awakens, Indy and Marion in Diarrhea of Destiny, and so on. I don't know what I was thinking with this last summer flop by multi-non-talent Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, who also co-produced and co-wrote the so-called screenplay, got rightly mostly negative feedback, and made with an $18 million budget in its first week, so far only $26 million worldwide back. So for sure not a hit.
They're getting ready to deal. You're getting ready to ill. Somebody just up the big time. They're getting ready.
At the end of this horribly woke shit of the old and new group, only the women survive, even the killer herself, Stevie. Ray, of all people, the survivor from the predecessors, turns out to be the second killer, which is just stupid and makes no sense at all. Who now, for reasons, helps Stevie, coincidentally also his employee Sure, with her completely pointless revenge. Because she was back then friends with the accident victim, but that didn't seem to stop her from actively covering up the incident, which also makes no sense.